Let's say that you want to get better at learning. You want to improve more quickly than you are at the moment. There's a common way that we go about learning, and then there's a less understood way that I think you might not be doing as well as you could, and it's a way to really accelerate how you get that mastery in the craft that you're going for. Say, for example, you want to learn programming, become a better programmer, or it could be art, or it could be any particular skill. There's an element where you first need to have that knowledge. You need to understand how to do the thing. You need to read the book, or watch the video tutorials, or go to classes to get that fundamental knowledge of doing the thing. That's the first part, and I think you're probably pretty good at that. Most people are competent at doing that part. They understand the process of watch along with the teacher and do that same thing as the student. Now, the part that is really, really important that breaks down is the next step. And I'm pulling in a little bit of my own observations. I've been pushing myself to get stronger at C# recently, and I've also been reading a really interesting book called Grit by Angela Duckworth. And in that book, Angela talks about the aspect of concentrated practice. And this is what differentiates people who reach mastery from the people who do not. So what do I mean by that? And what does she mean by that? So as you are going through, let's link it back to programming, we'll say. As you're going through and watching or learning the particular techniques or the approaches, you are absorbing the knowledge. The step that you need to do now is to give yourself your own independent stretch goal where you try to take the fundamentals of that knowledge and do something that you don't actually know how to do at the moment. This is super important, this part of practice. You're not just practicing the thing that you've been doing over and over in the lecture. You're not just doing the lecture. You're not copying the code over and over. You're manipulating it. Say, for example, you're new and you've just learned how to move an object across the screen. Well, say it's 2D. You know how to move it along the x-axis, and there's some sort of velocity in there, or you're telling it to go left and right, and you can move it on the y-axis. And you understand now that you can connect the key down to move this way and other keys to move that way. So you've got those concepts. You've got key down, you've got velocity, and you've got that's moving some sort of actor on the screen. You've got it. You're like, yes, I understand this. Great. Now, to really embed that, to really have that as a skill that you can use in different circumstances, as something that's a foundation that you can build upon, you need to go one step further than that without having that same particular video tutorial or lecturer at a university tell you what to do. You need to get there and say, now, how do I go and add an additional button to make my character move faster? So if I hold down space, it now goes double the velocity. How do I do that? And not knowing the answer is the right place to start. If you look at it, you're like, well, of course I know how to do that, then you're not going to get the right practice. You're not going to dig deep into your brain and cement the things that you need to cement in terms of the learning. You need to get there and say, how the heck am I going to do that? And you have to go and off and do separate research. And by going off and finding, like jumping on the internet and asking questions, going to tutorials, forums, going and finding other resources, linking it together, trying things out, putting it in, seeing if it works, seeing if it doesn't work. It might be a little bit messy, it might be a little bit hacky the way you've put it together, but it will embed it. You know, what is velocity? You need to understand how whatever particular system you're setting up or language you're using, how does that relate? How do I double that? And how does this key down aspect work? And how do I join two together? And by going through that process, you cement it and you get a lot stronger at it. So the lesson here is step one, learn from someone who knows how to do it, a particular thing. Step two, set yourself your own challenge, your own stretch goal, and practice it. Even if that one thing takes you an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, if you're deep in it, but how does that work? And how does that relate to this? And that doesn't make sense. And how do I connect that there? And how does this, and I've tried this and it doesn't work, and I've tried that and it doesn't work, and I've tried that and it doesn't work. That is really, truly, honestly, the way you learn and you get mastery at something. As if you're a programmer watching this and you've done a bunch of programming, you're probably nodding your head when you've had a bug that you haven't been able to figure out, and you've had to dig deep and really understand everything. And is it this? No. Is it that? No. Is it this? No. Is it that? By the time you reach the solution, you're like, whoa, I now know a lot more about the areas I've gone and investigated because I had to go and track down this one bug. So bugs can often be a massive way to learn. The stretch goal practice is a massive way to learn. So hopefully that is something that you've been using yourself. I'm sure you've used it in the past. If you had any instances where you've seen yourself really get better at something by doing that concentrated practice, then let us know in the comments how you went about doing that. And I look forward to seeing you in an upcoming video.